Hello, welcome to quarantine quiz number 4. If you are watching for the first time, I'll explain how this works. So I'm going to read out 40 questions on here. They'll be in 4 rounds of 10 questions each on a different theme. Theme in a loose sense of the word. So if you write this down or type them at the end of the quiz, I'll give a link for you to submit. If you don't want to submit, that's absolutely fine. I literally can't stop you from watching this video and not submitting anything, but even if I could, I wouldn't want to. This is supposed to be fun for all concerned. Yeah, so what else did I say? Yeah, if you do want to submit, I'll put up a link at the end and you can send your answers. That's why if you're going to, it's probably better to type rather than write, because you can just copy and paste everything into the text box. So before we get started, I need to announce the winners of last week's quiz. And the winners of last week, I need to give a special shout out to the book lovers who came second with 28 out of 40. But our winning team was the Curse of the Curls with 31 out of 40, which is the highest score of anyone on any quiz so far. These are not the easiest quizzes, nor would I want them to be. Okay, so let's get started for this week with round 1. As ever, this is just a general knowledge, 10 questions to get you started round. So question number 1. What name is given to the grated rind of a citrus fruit? What name is given to the grated rind of a citrus fruit? One thing I meant to say, if you're on desktop, this doesn't work on mobile or on smart TVs or anything like that, but if you're on desktop, then over that way, I can never get my finger in the right place, over that way is a chat box. Feel free to use it. I normally post something in there before we start. I haven't today because I was looking up who'd won, because I was unprepared as usual. So there's a chat box there. Please do use that if you've got any questions. If you have anything to say to me at all, I'll try and respond to things in there via the video, but there will be about a 30-second lag probably before I get around to answering them because of the video delay. Question number 2. What phrase for a rigorous appraisal derives from a method of determining whether a metal is gold? What phrase for a rigorous appraisal derives from a method of determining whether a metal is gold? You can also use the box to tell me if I'm going too fast or too slow or talking too much between the questions. As you can imagine, giving a quiz to a screen is a slightly weird experience, so I do tend to fill the space by just talking. Trying a slightly different camera setup this time. I'm slightly more to the right. Just seeing how that goes. My plants are of course still here. Question number 3. What colloquial name is given to the Beijing National Stadium used as the main stadium of the 2008 Olympic and Paralympic Games? It will be used again in 2022 for the Winter Olympics and Paralympics. So what colloquial name is given to the Beijing National Stadium used as the main stadium of the 2008 Olympic and Paralympic Games? It will be used again in 2022, which I said in a weird way, in 2022 for the Winter Olympics and Paralympics. Yes, unlike Paxman on University Challenge, I can't re-record a question if I fluff it. I don't know that he does that, but I assume that he can. Today's drink is water. It's very unexciting. And apologies for the sudden knock there when I banged the table by mistake. Question number 4. Who was the third credited artist on the single 4-5 Seconds along with Rihanna and Paul McCartney? Who was the third credited artist on the single 4-5 Seconds along with Rihanna and Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney, of course, the best Beatle. I will hear no one say otherwise. Let's go for question number 5. The title of which experimental novel by David Foster Wallace is a quotation from Hamlet and refers in the book to a film so entertaining viewers are unable to stop watching it? The title of which experimental novel by David Foster Wallace is a quotation from Hamlet and refers in the book to a film so entertaining viewers are unable to stop watching it? Question number 6. What American brand of toothpaste shares its name with the uppermost part of a heraldic achievement, placed above the coat of arms and the helm? What American brand of toothpaste shares its name with the uppermost part of a heraldic achievement, placed above the coat of arms and the helm? When I was writing this question, I could have sworn that it was a British brand of toothpaste as well, but apparently it's not sold here. It's sold under the Oral-B brand in the UK. I realise we may have some international viewers who aren't sure where here is. It's the UK, if my accent didn't give that away. Question number 7. Which large event, famous for its beer, is held annually in Munich, starting in September despite its name? Which large event, famous for its beer, is held annually in Munich, starting in September despite its name? Let's move on to question 8. Which American producer appeared on the 6th British series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in 2006, finishing, that should be, 4th? Which American producer appeared on the 6th British series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in 2006, finishing 4th? I swear I did proofread the questions this week. Apparently not well enough. Question number 9. Which viral infection of cattle was officially declared as the second disease ever to be eradicated in 2011? Apologies if you don't want to think about viral infections right now, but which viral infection of cattle was officially declared as the second disease ever to be eradicated in 2011? The first disease to be eradicated was a disease of humans, and it was smallpox. And that's it. No other diseases have ever been completely eradicated. Some of them have had localised eradications, some of them are quite close, but there are only 2 diseases that have been completely wiped out worldwide. And finally for this round, question 10. Lynyrd Skynyrd released a compilation album with what name in 1982? It mostly features album tracks and previously unreleased songs as opposed to hit singles. That last bit is a hint. Lynyrd Skynyrd released a compilation album with what name in 1982? It mostly features album tracks and previously unreleased songs as opposed to hit singles. It's also probably the hardest question of the round, unless you are a Lynyrd Skynyrd fan. Their first album is actually titled as Lynyrd Skynyrd, brackets, I think it's pronounced, and then a phonetic description of how you're supposed to say that. I think I didn't say it right. So that was round 1, as ever 10 general knowledge questions. Which moves us on to round 2. I had to do a musicals round eventually, and it's today. So I would like you to name that musical. I'm going to give you 3 songs from a musical. I just want you to tell me which musical contains the songs listed. Hopefully at least some of the early ones are sufficiently straightforward that you can deduce it from the song titles without needing to have seen the musical. If anyone is just joining us, which I think from the stats is true, hello. Don't feel you have to go all the way back because the video will stay up afterwards, so feel free to stay with us and then go back to round 1 afterwards. So round 2, question 1, the songs are Defying Gravity, The Wizard and I, and For Good. Defying Gravity, The Wizard and I, and For Good. I'm drinking in a slightly weird two-handed way this week. Question number 2. The Music of the Night, All I Ask of You, and Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. The Music of the Night, All I Ask of You, and Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. This one was streamed on YouTube a couple of weeks back in an anniversary performance. These are all clues. Yeah, I apologise if musicals aren't your thing, but sport wasn't my thing for last week's round, and yet I included a sport round, so, it's my turn. Thank you in the chat for the confirmation that I am drinking weirdly. It's always nice to have validation. Question 3. Maria, Something's Coming, and Jet Song. Maria, Something's Coming, and Jet Song. This musical, notable for several reasons, but in particular for its use of a musical device called the tritone all the way through, which is formerly known as the Devil's Interval. It's an augmented fourth or diminished fifth. It sounds very jarring. Question number 4. House, spelt H-A-U-S, House of Holbein, Don't Lose Your Head, spelt U-R, and I Don't Need Your Love. House of Holbein, Don't Lose Your Head, and I Don't Need Your Love. If anyone has any ideas for particularly rounds 2 and 4, so round 2 usually is a sort of subject round, subject in the kind of Trivial Pursuit sense of arts and literature, and round 4, which is usually a theme round, please do let me know either in the chat or by emailing me. My email address is on my website, which is www.alexquiz.fun. Still excited about the .fun domain name I've got for this. Question number 5. Where is love? Consider yourself, and you've got to pick a pocket or two. Where is love? Consider yourself, and you've got to pick a pocket or two. It's strange to think that the first one of these was 3 weeks ago. It both feels like not long ago and like I've been doing this my whole life. That is apparently how lockdown goes. What is time? Where is love? Question number 6. The farmer and the cowman. Oh, what a beautiful morning. And Kansas City. The farmer and the cowman. Oh, what a beautiful morning. And Kansas City. This one was one of the, putting my music AS level to good use here. This was a, lost track of what I was saying. This is a musical. Dear me, sorry, I am tired. This was one of the first musicals, that's where I was going, to have songs integrated into the plot. So you can't take the songs out and use them elsewhere, or really watch the musical without the songs in it. You need them to follow the plot, and that's how most musicals work these days. But before then, it was sort of, there was a story and there were songs, and they were kind of interchangeable, and the songs dealt with vague themes like love or heartbreak or whatever. Question number 7. The Harvard variations, positive and scene of the crime. The Harvard variations, positive and scene of the crime. This one I haven't seen. I think it's the first one that I've not seen either. These are all stage musicals, I should say, but this is the first one where I haven't either seen it on stage or seen a film version that's been made, I think. Someone's pointed out my one-handed drinking moves in the chat. Next, I want to juggle with this. Admittedly, one item juggling is not that impressive, but it's about my limit. Question 8. Bruce, this little girl, and revolting children. Bruce, this little girl, and revolting children. Haven't seen this one either. I have been told to many times, and I guess I won't be doing it anytime soon, but when it is safe to go to the theatre again, I look forward to seeing this one. Question number 9. Willkommen, 2 ladies, and mein Herr. I apologise for my German, as usual. Willkommen, 2 ladies, and I'm saying and in a not. That's not even the German word for and. Let's start again. Willkommen, 2 ladies, and mein Herr. It's a strange musical. That's the only hint I'm giving there. It's a strange musical. I just suspect number 8 is. Finally, question 10. My shot, it's quiet uptown, and you'll be back. My shot, it's quiet uptown, and you'll be back. And those of you who dislike musicals can breathe a sigh of relief. That was the very final musicals question for this quiz. Which brings us on to round 3. I'll just loiter on this slide for a little bit while you have a chance to finish up your answers for the last one, because I've also got to explain a few caveats for this round. So as you can see, hopefully, if my system is working, this round is an alphabetically first round. So what I want to know is which comes first. I'm going to give you some categories. I just want you to tell me which one is first in the alphabet. So there's a few rules here. If a title starts with a or with an or with the, I'm ignoring that when it comes to alphabetizing. It's the word after that is where it's sorted by. Also, if an entry has a number at the beginning, which I think only applies to one category, I'm sorting the number by how you would write it out in words. I'll just explain that when it comes up, because I think there's only one entry in one of these lists where that's relevant. But yes, the most important thing is that if there's anything starting with a, an, or the, ignore that word and sort by the next word. Which comes alphabetically first? So here's question 1. Hopefully it will become clear. So, which is the alphabetically first month of the year? Month of the year. Obviously none of these starts with a or an or the. That would be more dramatic. I'll see you on the September. Or in the September, I suppose it would be. I suppose you'd say like the autumn or the winter or the spring or the summer, so why wouldn't you say in the September? Question 2, we're getting a bit harder. Which is the first current English county alphabetically? So which is the first current English county? If we're being... So I don't think we do need to be pedantic here. I think the answer is the same either way. But I'm talking about what are called ceremonial counties here. So areas with a Lord Lieutenant assigned to them. I think administrative counties, the answer is the same. Counties are a notoriously difficult thing to define because it means about 5 different things just in England, and then got to deal with what counties are in Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. The word current is there. Again, I don't think it changes. Possibly this one. No, this one does change the answer. There is a former county that was abolished in the 90s that had an earlier name than the current record holder. But things like Humberside is no longer a county. Before that, things like Westmoreland used to be a county. So we're excluding all of those. No, to the person in the chat, Yorkshire is not the correct answer. I mean, also Yorkshire is not a county for these purposes. It's divided into West, South, North and the East Riding. But it's none of those. Question 3. So which film that won the Academy Award for Best Picture comes first in the alphabet? So this is the one where we have to, consider how we're dealing with numbers. So 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture, and that is placed under T for these purposes. So which film that won the Academy Award for Best Picture comes first alphabetically? I think 12 Years a Slave is the only one that starts with a number as written on the film poster, as in Arabic numerals rather than Latin. Anyway, it's not that. Which one is it? Give me a sec to think about that one. While I just stare into my plants. Oh, I just noticed the evil questions galore message. Yes. And would you come back if these were easy questions? What's tipping point for that? Question 4. So, which was the alphabetically first surname of a US president? So, which surname of a US president comes first in the alphabet? There are 44 people who've held the position of president. Fewer than 44 surnames because some surnames repeat. Before anyone comes in the chat and says that Trump is the 45th president, and so there are 45 presidents, Grover Cleveland was president in 2 disjoint terms. So I've realised that was backwards. 2 disjoint terms. There we go. And so he gets 2 numbers. Non-consecutive, I mean, rather than disjoint. So which chemical element comes first in the alphabet? Which chemical element comes first in the alphabet? I'm talking here about ones that have got their official final name, as opposed to things like unanoctium. Maybe that's got a name now. I don't think it makes a difference to the answer, because all of those start with U. But yes, which chemical element comes first in the alphabet? Yes, I forget the exact number of these, but there's about 118. I think unanoctium might be the last one to have been named. Comment in the chat. Honestly, these questions are less evil than the person who said they were evil questions led them to expect. Thank you. I try to be not too evil. I think there's like an optimum amount of evil when setting questions. Admittedly, some of these are easier than in some other weeks, maybe? Maybe. Round 4 is a bit tricky in places, though. Question number 6. Name given to a Space Shuttle orbiter. So there are only 5 of these. I want to know which Space Shuttle orbiter came first. Oh, question about the last one. Is it the 2-letter short version or full element? I mean the full name of the elements for question 5. So not... gold is not sorted under AU, it's sorted under G. So yeah, the name is spelled out for question 5. Question 6, yep, there are 5 Space Shuttle orbiters, it's in the NASA vehicles. Can you tell me which one came first? There were 6 if you include a prototype one that couldn't actually go into space. That doesn't change the answer. I think the one that was first was the last one to fly, but I might be wrong. I know that when he hosted University Challenge, Bamba Gascoigne used to make notes on the questions so that he had extra fun facts to fill in. If someone said an answer that was made almost right, like if it was name a king and which king reigned from this year to this year, and someone said Henry VII, you could say, no, Henry VII reigned from this year to this year. I don't do that. Maybe I should. But copying and pasting these questions into my image editing program to put them on here takes long enough. So, question 7. Book in the main Harry Potter series. Which book in the main Harry Potter series comes first alphabetically? All of them start with Harry Potter and the, so that doesn't affect the alphabetical order. Yes, so the way I make this is, as I just alluded to, is that I copy and paste the questions into my imaging editing software, the GNU image manipulation program, I think it's called. Export them as pings, and then make my streaming software recognize which image files I want to use this week. And it's a rather torturous process, and I'm sure there must be a way to automate parts of this, but I haven't found it yet. If anyone does know a way to automate this, please do get in touch, please. Preferably a free way, because I make zero money from these quizzes. You have to have 1,000 subscribers to be monetized, and I have 7. Okay. The questions are not all impossible in response to a person in the chat. They are maybe mostly impossible. So question 8, I want to know the state of the land of Germany that comes first in the alphabet, and that, as it happens, is the same in either English or in German. So which state of Germany, so Land in the native German, comes first in the alphabet in either English or in German? There are 16 of these, and I'm sure someone's going to correct me if I've got that wrong. For that one, I could have asked you the states of America, and that would have been maybe... Would that have been easier or harder? They're possibly better known to an English-speaking audience, but there's also 50 of them, so you're possibly less likely to get the first one. I don't know. Question 9. Oh, this is the hard one. So in Western music theory, there are 7 modes, and I want to know which of those comes first alphabetically. Modes are a little bit like keys, signatures, but not. So one of the modes corresponds to a major, and one corresponds roughly to minor, and then there are 5 others. I don't have very many sort of classical music questions on this quiz, so I thought we ought to throw one in there. Bias is towards popular music. Probably. That's not, as in modern music, not to say that classical music isn't popular, of course it is, but pop music is, I suppose, what I mean. Oh dear. Apologies if anyone was offended by my accidental slight against classical music. Question 10. So, which Super League team, as of the suspended 2020 season, comes first in the alphabet? So, if anyone's not sure which sport this is, Super League is rugby league, the form of rugby that's mostly played along the M62 corridor in the north. Also played in other bits. So the Super League is mostly a Northern English league. There are, I think, 2 teams from outside Northern England, which are, in fact, not in the UK at all. But anyway, which Super League team, as of the suspended 2020 season, comes first alphabetically? And that was round 3, which means we're on to our final round, which is a round on the theme of May. It is, of course, now May. Today is May the 4th, or Star Wars Day. I didn't include any Star Wars questions because I didn't think of that until after I had written the round. If anyone, as I say, does have any ideas for this last round, this is always the hardest to come up with an idea for. So do let me know. I think all of them so far have been kind of calendar based, and I'm happy to go off that. It's just the calendar as an easy way to pick something. But yes, this is a loosely May themed round. As well as Star Wars Day. Today would normally be the early May bank holiday. It's not this year because of the VE Day commemoration day on Friday. So, question number 1 in this final round. The 1st of May is marked as International Workers' Day, sometimes called Labour Day. In the US, Labour Day is instead marked on the first Monday of which month? The 1st of May is marked as International Workers' Day, sometimes called Labour Day. In the US, Labour Day is instead marked on the first Monday of which month? I found out recently why the 1st of May is International Workers' Day. It's got nothing to do with the historical English mostly celebration of May Day. It's to do with riots that happened in Chicago in the 19th century. Riots is possibly the wrong word, but certainly a protest that got way out of hand, to put it mildly. Lots of people died. But yes, that started on the 1st of May and the violence happened 3 days later. So the 1st of May is marked as International Workers' Day, sometimes called Labour Day. In the US, Labour Day is instead marked on the first Monday of which month? Question number 2. In England, the Long Parliament on the 8th of April 1644 banned which symbols of May Day celebration, describing them as a heathenish vanity generally abused to superstition and wickedness? Great quote. In England, the Long Parliament on the 8th of April 1644 banned which symbols of May Day celebration, describing them as a heathenish vanity generally abused to superstition and wickedness? When I say symbols here, this is like a collection of objects like cats or cherries. I'm not looking for like lots of different symbols. I should possibly have written that in the singular, but it wouldn't have agreed with the quote then. Question number 3. In France, the giving of which flower is a customary tradition on the 1st of May? It commenced when King Charles IX received one as a lucky charm. That's not a question. Lucky charm. In French, it is known as the Muguet de Mai. Mai, there, of course, being the French for May. In France, the giving of which flower is a customary tradition on the 1st of May. It commenced when King Charles IX received one as a lucky charm. In French, it is known as the Muguet de Mai. I can't translate muguet for you because the best translation of muguet is the answer I'm looking for. Question number 4. The TV series The Darling Buds of May, an adaptation of the novel of the same name, was an early screen role for which Welsh actress in the role of Mariette? The TV series The Darling Buds of May, an adaptation of the novel of the same name, was an early screen role for which Welsh actress in the role of Mariette? The title there taken from the famous sonnet. Yeah, I've forgotten the number. 18. Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate, and so on. Question number 5. James May, later a presenter of Top Gear, there's a missing comma. Oh dear. James May, later a presenter of Top Gear, was dismissed from which magazine after he made initial letters in articles of a special road test yearbook issue spell out a hidden message? James May, later a presenter of Top Gear, was dismissed from which magazine after he made initial letters in articles of a special road test yearbook issue spell out a hidden message? So I'm not encouraging you to cheat, but I believe Wikipedia's article on James May has a picture of the relevant pages spelling out the hidden message. It's mildly rude. Question 6. The Isle of May is located in which estuary of Great Britain? The Isle of May is located in which estuary of Great Britain? Sonnet 18 has Google reviews. I've just found out when I was looking at the number. It has an average of 4.1 out of 5 from Google reviewers. Sure. Lots of people didn't like it. It's quite a few 1-star ratings there. Dear me. Right, question 7. In comics, Aunt May is the aunt of which superhero? In comics, Aunt May is the aunt of which superhero? That's where I have to decide whether I say it as aunt or aunt. Varies, depending on for nearby words, how southern I'm trying to sound. One of the Google reviews of Sonnet 18 is just the text of Sonnet 18. 22 people found this helpful, apparently. Someone asks Shakespeare not to insult them. Because some days are unpleasant and humid. The internet is a strange place. Question 8. In the United States, the May department stores company, owner of Marshall Fields and Kaufmann's, or Kaufmann's, I again don't know how to pronounce that, merged into the company now named after which famous American store chain which it owns? In the United States, the May department stores company, owner of Marshall Fields and Kaufmann's, or Kaufmann's, merged into the company now named after which famous American store chain which it owns? So we're looking for a name of a department store chain here. That is not the May department stores company, though it sounds vaguely similar as a hint there. Question number 9. This is possibly the hardest question in the quiz. Which station on the National Rail Network of Great Britain has the three-letter station code MAY? Which station on the National Rail Network of Great Britain has the three-letter station code MAY? Every station has a three-letter code, so King's Cross is KGX or Paddington's is PAD, and one of them is MAY. It's definitely the hardest question on the quiz. And finally, question 10. At the 2018 Conservative Party conference, what was the background music for Theresa May's entrance? At the 2018 Conservative Party conference, what was the background music for Theresa May's entrance? That is the end of this week's quiz. Which means I now need to give you some instructions on how to submit. So if you would like to submit your answers, obviously no obligation, but if you'd like to and have a chance of being announced as next week's winners, that is the only prize. I can't actually offer you anything other than a shout out at the beginning of the next video. But please do submit your answers on www.alexquiz.fun/submit. There is a link to that in the description. The deadline for doing that is midnight tomorrow night, so that's the end of the 5th of May 2020. If you're watching this after the 5th of May, please don't submit, nothing will happen. It will just confuse me if I'm trying to mark some future quiz and I get answers about May and musicals. But yes, please do submit your answers on that website, and I will announce the winners at the beginning of the next quiz. So that is it for another week. I do seem to have settled into a pattern of doing these on Mondays at 5:30. I can't promise that will continue forever, but I'll keep it up as long as I can. In the meantime, please do like this video if you've enjoyed it. There is a like button down there somewhere. Please also subscribe. There's also a little bell that you can click, which will make sure that you get notifications of when future streams are happening, because clicking the subscribe button doesn't do that on its own. And do tell your friends if you've enjoyed it. Tell your enemies if you've not. And that's it. So have a good day and a good week. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.